Hey, hey, Dread, welcome. Good to see you both. I'm sure you're not happy at me for introducing you to the Federation rank grind. Yeah, it, I expect that we're going to have some time after we talk about mining and go do a little mining um, to kind of talk about that grind and what I've found to be correct and incorrect about the current quote unquote guides that are out there and what I've been doing um, to get myself to that point. I'm now at 99% um, of the rank right before Fleet Rear Admiral to unlock the Corvette. I wanted to kind of stop there and so we could maybe do a run of what I've been looking at and then kind of see it, the unlock and what the rank up missions are and that sort of stuff for people who haven't done it before. So that's kind of the plan, but yeah, there's no real easy way anymore after the Power Play 2.0 drop or update, which was actually called the Ascendancy update. When that happened, and to a lesser extent, the Trailblazers or colonization update, they really changed how the mission boards work. And those old guides about talking about loops between stations, those just simply don't work anymore. Um, So I'm hoping that we'll have some time today to kind of talk about that and what I'm going to do with the Corvette and purchasing it, building out that sort of stuff. I don't think we'll get through all of that today, but we'll take a look. I don't think we need to sit here and kind of watch me buy modules and that sort of stuff for it, when I can just build it out and then we'll talk about the build afterwards. So, but yeah, that's kind of, we're going to talk about that a little bit, hopefully today, if we have some time at the end. Yeah, it's kind of one of those situations now where you have to just try and find a, if you're not aware of the bounce loop, and you haven't unlocked a particular system yet, it's really just a case of finding a system that has, you know, enough Federation factions in it, and Federation factions hopefully in the star system surrounding it, that it can make it worthwhile to run missions out of those systems. Once you've got a little bit into the grind and you've unlocked a system, then you're really much better off moving there to that location. But yeah, like I say, I'll kind of hopefully talk about that later on today. And maybe it'll help from where you are to finish it up and get through it. Because yeah, it is definitely a grind. I think mine took me. I did 5 hours on Saturday. I did 4 hours on Sunday, and then 3 hours each night of Monday and Tuesday, and then last night I did 4 hours and finished it up. So somewhere around 15 or 16 hours, something like that, 16 to 18 hours for me to do it. And I wasn't doing it the fastest, just because again, there's a much faster way to do it if I would have purchased another ship and outfitted it while I was doing that grind. Hey, and welcome back. Like 3 hours early this time. Yeah, I don't know. I've never joined a live stream on YouTube that wasn't already live, so I don't know how that really works. I don't know what you see. I mean, obviously the chat window's over to the side because I saw you and Dread were chatting, but um, yeah, I have no idea how that works or what it does. But YouTube likes doing YouTube things, so well, Dread, if you're going to carry on doing missions, then I may do a recap of kind of what I've done off stream at the start. So maybe if you learn a better way, you can get more done um, while you're watching. Yeah, and like I say, I don't know what that other screen is. I've never tried to join from my personal YouTube account or something like that. I may have to try it and kind of see what it is. I'm guessing that it's got the, because I put the thumbnail up, the Elite Dangerous Odyssey kind of picture on the thumbnail before I start. So I'm guessing it maybe shows that. And like you say, a stream starting soon or a scheduled note or something on it, but I've never actually tried, so I'll go check it out. Okay, well that makes sense. Yeah. But yeah, it should just move you into the stream once it goes live, but like I say, YouTube doing YouTube things. So and yeah, we're gonna actually talk about that at the start here to give everybody an update about it. Welcome everyone to today's live stream, episode number 14 of our Elite Dangerous New Adventure playthrough series. I'm Commander Jerval, and I want to thank you for coming along on our journey today. So yes, admin on an admin note for the channel. Not about Elite Dangerous, but about Celesta 2. If you're on the Discord, you learned today that they have a new community manager. Their old community manager is moving full time into the game development side. They were kind of doing the community management on the side, and this frees them up to get full time back into the development side of things. So if you're not part of the Discord for Celesta 2, you can find the link on their webpage. But there's a lot of good information there. That's where you're first going to hear about updates and patch notes and that sort of stuff. And go in and say hi to the new community manager while you're there. So I think that's it. Oh no, one more admin note. Earlier this week, my cable modem just decided to crap itself. I've got a new one. Internet seems to be working better, and it seems I've gained about 15% more speed, it seems. So I'm hoping that the stream stays more stable as far as bitrate goes, and we don't have any dropouts and buffering and that sort of stuff. If we do have any issues, though, since it is a new router, and I spent some time setting it up, I think I got all the settings on it, so it's a direct replacement for my old one. But if it's not, if something's going on in the stream, let me know, and I'll try and take a look at it. So now I think that's it for our admin notes. So on our recap, last week we built a mining ship, and we took that mining ship out and we did the how portion of mining. We talked about the different mining gameplay loops, and we showed you how to do it, but I made it very clear last week that that wasn't the most efficient way of doing anything. I was just explaining how the gameplay loops work. Well, today we're going to get into the what, where, and why of mining itself. So let's go ahead and jump in here, and you can see I've got my Type 11 Prospector up. And we're going to be in solo play. There's a reason for that when you're mining, and I'll explain that kind of when we get into the where aspect of it. Yep, got to watch out for those noob hammers. I'm telling you, they are dangerous. Okay, so here we are in our ship, but before we get started, I need to talk about a couple of things. So first, we need to give an update on some power play stuff. So obviously I got my leaderboard rewards. I didn't spend a whole lot of time doing much on it. I was kind of predisposed working on some other stuff. But there is a very rare opportunity right now that is going on that anyone who is trying to work their way through the power ranks needs to be aware of. And I'm going to change over to my other display. And we're going to see Inara here. I'm going to go to data. I'm going to go to commodities. And I'm going to go to rare commodities. And I'm going to sort this by supply. And you can see that Soontill relics have a massive supply availability. Now, normally there's only 40 of these. They get up to 80 because of the boom state, and then they can get up to even more based upon other system states. And if we go to Chernovsky City and we look at the stations in, we look at the stations in Guri here, you can see the minor faction set up. Chernovsky City is controlled by the Odyssey Explorers. The Odyssey Explorers are here. They're in a boom state. They're also in a civil liberty state, and they're in an expansion state. Now, those are all three of the different categories. There is economic, there is security, and there is expansion or retraction. They are in positive states in all three of the different major state categories. And whenever you have Boom, Civil Liberty, and Expansion, they all build on each other. It's fairly rare that you're going to see all three states at the same time, but you have seen it now. It is now available inside the Nguri system, and because of that, we now have 600 Soontill relics available for sale. That's a massive amount of relics. It is by far the largest number that we're going to have anywhere else. And that gives you an opportunity now, while these three faction states are running at the same time, to massively rank up your power standing. You're gonna, if you go sell these relics at an acquisition system, we talked about this previously, somewhere between 200 and 250 light years away from Nguri, you're going to earn merits. Now, 80 merits, or 80 of these will get you somewhere around 7,500 merits per trip. And each trip takes you about 20 minutes. So you're somewhere around that 20k merits per hour, give or take. You do this with a Panther Clipper or something that has 600 tons of supply. It could be a Type 9, it could be a Panther Clipper, it could even be a Corvette or a cutter, an Imperial cutter. You build those out for 600 tons and you do this run, and you're going to be earning 100,000 plus merits per hour. And if we go back into our display and we go to power play and we go to loyalty and we scroll this thing all the way down there, you can see rank 100 is at 775,000 merits. I'm at 243,000 right now. So in 5+ hours, I could completely rank myself all the way up and be done with power play. Okay. So at that point, you have a, like I say, you have a what would normally take weeks to do this, you can now finish in a single day. It's a very rare opportunity now, so take advantage of it while you can. These faction states could change at any time, so jump on it while you can. Once I'm off stream here tonight, I'm going to build out a ship for cargo and go do a few of these runs myself, and then tomorrow when I get back from work, if it's still there, I'll do it again. I've been a little preoccupied with another grind here that I want to kind of give you an update on what I did off stream. Okay, so before we get into mining, up here, and yeah, I have some new assignments for my power, but you can see I have a bunch of promotions here, okay, for the Federal Navy. And I have progressed all the way up to the post captain level. And if I look at my status here, you can see I'm at 99% of the way through post captain. The next rank is Rear Admiral, and that's what you need to unlock the Federal Corvette. I want to talk briefly about what I did, but not go into full details on it, because I'm going to do that later on, hopefully today in the stream. But the guides from back in the day simply don't work anymore. The Ascendancy update, which is when they brought in Power Play 2.0, broke, or it didn't break, it massively changed how the mission boards work. And they are much more dependent upon system economies and faction states to determine what missions show up in them. Back in the day, you had a a system or a station that was guaranteed to give you a certain amount of or certain type of missions, and it would always give you those no matter what. Um, that is no longer the case. Those missions will drastically change from day to day and week to week, depending upon what the states are, what allegiances there are, and all that sort of stuff. When the Trailblazers update, which brought in colonization, happened to a lesser degree, it revamped some of that as well. But it was mostly done during the Ascendancy update. So all the old guides that you're going to see from 2 years ago online talking about Chopka and XVA and Okosi and places like that are, and Sothis and Sios, running data missions back and forth. Those don't work anymore. None of those guides work. So I'm going to give you just a brief overview. So down here, which I talked about, I got myself through midshipman. When you get to midshipman, you get the Sol System permit, or I'm sorry, when you get petty officer, you get the Sol System permit. During these first 3 or 4 ranks, find any system that has Federation factions in it and do missions for them. You're going to progress through these first 4 ranks pretty fast. Once you get the Sol System permit, though, you need to change what you're doing. Okay, there's a much faster way to go about ranking up, and it's called the bounce loop. I'm going to change over to my other display here, and we'll look at what the bounce loop is. Around Earth, there are 4 stations: Abraham Lincoln, Li Qingjiao, M. Gorbachev, and Galileo. They are all in very close orbit with each other, so they are literally within 1 light second of each other. When I was doing it, M. Gorbachev was 9 million meters away from Li Qingjiao. So when I left Li Qingjiao, I just floored the throttle and didn't even have to do anything, and I ended up in perfect range to drop out of Super Cruise right at the station. But they're all right next to each other, so it literally only takes you a minute to travel between each station. I don't really think it's necessary that you do the order in which they're talking about doing this loop here. I understand why they're doing it, but I don't think it's important that you do it. But basically what you do is you pick one station. I started with Abraham Lincoln. I would land there, and I would take all of the missions that say donate to the Federation cause. Now, in the Sol System, there's like 6 Federation factions and 1 independent faction at every station. So the vast majority of your missions are all going to be Federation missions. Okay. So you, first of all, go into a station, you pay credits for all of the donation missions. And it cost me about 150 million credits during my rank up to get all this done. So if you don't have the credits, it's just going to take you longer. But you pay for them, and then you look at the mission list. And you're going to be looking for missions that have a 4 or 5 reputation pip on them that say, we need X number of tons of this material, or supplier needs this many tons of this material. And they're all going to be the same type of material. They're all going to be a food stuff, like tea and fish and stuff like that, or they're going to be a medical supply, or something like that. And you go around and you stack up as many of those missions as you can in these 4 stations. Once you get to the end at Galileo, you set a destination for, I'm trying to remember what the name is. Em, I sent it to you in chat. I'm gonna have to pull up Discord because I forgot the name of it. It's Popov. That's where I got it wrong. It's Popov Lab at Captain Star. This is a medium station, so you need to have a medium ship to do it. And if you have a Type 8 transporter that you can get 400 plus tons of cargo space, that's the best way to do it. You can run more of them at the same time. Everything that you need to satisfy all of those missions is available at the market in Popov Lab. And it's like 12 and a half light seconds. It's one jump away from Seoul. So you pick up all those delivery missions, or say find and return missions. You jump over to Popov Lab, you go to the market, and you buy beer, wine, animal meat, coffee, fish, grain, fruits and vegetables, tea. Sometimes you'll get agronomic treatment or consumer technology, but everything's available here at this one spot. You load up all of it that you need. You fly back to Abraham Lincoln, drop off whatever missions you need, pay the credits for the new donation missions, and pick up a new round. Then go to Li Qingjiao, do the same thing, do the same thing, do the same thing, head to Popov and buy, and then do that loop. And that's what's called the bounce loop. It took me between 15 and 18 hours to rank up from Chief Petty Officer up to Rear Admiral. Okay. So it is the quickest way probably now to be able to do it because of the changes in the mission boards. So I wanted to kind of get that out of the way. We're going to talk a little bit more about that if we have some time at the end of the episode today. But I wanted to kind of give you an update of what I did off stream, and then also to alert you about the Soontill Relic boost and the easy way to max out your power conditions. So take advantage of those as quickly as you can this week, and hopefully it'll make those grinds a little bit easier. And welcome, Golden Samurai. Thanks for being here. Good to see you. If you do have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat, and I'll get back to them. So, okay, so mining. Like I say, last week we built out our Type 11 prospector, and we talked about the how. We got all of the different mining loops out of the way, but you really don't want to do what I did last week. That was just showing you how the mining loops work, not necessarily the most efficient way to go about them, or the way to earn the most credits and or merits out of them. So today we're going to get into the what do I want to mine, where do I want to mine it, and why do I want to mine that. Okay, and the first thing that we're going to get into is the what do you want to mine. And I'm going to bring up my display again. This spreadsheet is basically out of the wiki. If you do a search for miner as a profession on the Elite Dangerous wiki, you're going to come up with this chart. It's the one online is a little incorrect. So I corrected it. I saved this to a spreadsheet, and I have it here on my computer. So I'm going to give you a hot take here. Because the mapped miner crowd out there is going to show up in my comments here in a little bit. But laser mining is the most efficient way to gather these materials. If you're doing laser mining correctly, utilizing overlapping hotspots and or res sites, there is really no comparison in how much you can or how fast you can get the resources. I say that's a hot take because there are ways where you can kind of make the core mining process a lot faster because like I said last week, the core asteroids are always in the same spot, in the same ring, every time. Now, the problem is that those cores are available to everybody in the game. So if someone else is mining those cores while you're trying to mine them, even if you're in solo and they're in open, those cores are going to show as already exploded rocks. Laser mining with the occasional core mining, if you find a core asteroid thrown in, is the fastest way to gather these materials. So when you start looking at the what do I want to mine here, you need to start looking at what is laser mineable as well as core mineable inside the same ring. All right. So if I look down this list, the first few here in rocky rings, none of these are laser mineable. Metal rich rings, none of these are laser mineable. Metallic rings, painite and platinum are laser mineable, and they're also core mineable inside the same metallic ring. In a metal rich ring, they're not laser mineable, but they are core mineable. So you want ones like this that are core and laser mineable inside the same ring type. But then icy ring, you have bromellite that's in both, low temperature diamonds that are in both, tritium that's in both, and you can go down the list and you can start looking at what are available for you to laser mine and core mine in the same location. And what that means is you're going to be going around laser mining all the time. You're also going to take a pulse wave analyzer and you're going to be popping it off every once in a while. And if you run across an asteroid with a core in it, you can stop, core mine that, and then go back to laser mining. That's the intent. You're kind of giving them both a go at the same time. Now, which of these materials that are both laser mining and core mineable inside the same ring do we want to focus on? Well, that's entirely dependent upon the price that you're going to get per ton for each one. And for that, I'm going to introduce a new third-party tool. This is ED Tools. It's been around for a very long time. And they have various different tools up here that you can use to help out with the game. And I'm going to focus on the miners tool. Okay. So the miners tool is going to help you with the quote unquote meta materials or the high value materials, how to find them and where to sell them. Okay. So if I say that I'm in OU Geminorum, which is where I'm at, and then I click on platinum, for instance, it's going to tell me where to go mine them. It's going to give me the closest ones in order. It's going to tell me what planet and what ring I need to be at, who found that particular location, where the closest system is to sell, and what the port is and how much that price is for. And then how long ago was that price valid? And that's key, because don't trust these prices. If you find a station that you're going to go sell to, always check the price beforehand when you go do it. So, for instance, I'm just going to pick Esposito Depot here, and I'm going to open up a new window into Inara. I'm going to go to that star system. I'm going to click on stations. I'm going to look for Esposito Depot, and I'm going to go to the market. Okay, now here are the metals. They're buying all the metals. Here are the minerals, and they're not buying all the minerals. There are some with a demand of 0, but they're doing a lot. Okay, so you can kind of get a gauge on what the prices are here. So aluminum, you probably don't want to, or say, let me just pick one here, gold. 56,000 credits per ton. You probably don't want to spend your time going to mine gold when you could be mining osmium and selling it for 234,000 credits per ton. Or platinum at 280,000 credits per ton. Okay, that narrows down out of this list here of everything that's in it. For instance, bromellite is laser and core mineable. If we go down here and we look at bromellite, it's 114,000 credits per ton. That's nowhere near granditerite at 563, or LTD is at 240, or musgravite at 694. So you're not going to be focusing on 90% of the stuff in this table. The ones that you really are focusing on are coincidentally what's listed up here in ED Tools. Okay. Platinum and painite, if we take a look at those, are a little special. Okay. So if I look at the list here, platinum and painite are both laser and core mineable inside metallic rings. The current meta is to go mining platinum and painite. The reason it's the current meta is because while you are in a metallic ring, you can be getting both of them. Whereas if I'm mining low temperature diamonds, I may have an asteroid that doesn't have any low temperature diamonds in it. It may have bromolite, but I don't really care about bromolite because it sells for so much less. The reason these are here is because they're both high dollar, high value metals and minerals, and they're both available inside the same ring at both laser and core mineable. Okay, so you have a better chance of getting either or both of these materials in a particular rock than you do for low temperature diamonds. So that's what the current meta is painite and platinum. Low temperature diamonds is there. This used to be the meta way back in the day. I'm not saying it's not. We're actually going to go do LT diamond mining today, just because platinum and painite are the meta. So everyone farms them out, and you overload the stations where they're at. So we're going to be doing some low temperature diamonds today. Osmium is in there for another very specific reason, and that's why it's down here. Now, osmium, again, is a fairly high dollar material, but osmium is not laser mineable. Is not core mineable. It's only laser mineable in either metal rich or metallic rings. And you'll want to be in metallic rings, by the way, for that. So, and there's no osmium hotspot. If we go to the miners tool and we click osmium, there are no known osmium hotspots. So why would I want to go mine osmium? The reason you want to do it is because there are no hotspots. You can find osmium anywhere that you want, and it's going to be in not hotspot concentrations, but it's going to be in higher concentrations than most of the other metals in that particular ring. You're much more likely to just drop into a ring anywhere you want and find osmium than any other mineral that you're going to have. So since it's readily and findable and available, you don't have to travel all over the galaxy to go find it. It's very easy to mine, it's very easy to sell, and you don't have to travel all over the galaxy for it. If I look at low temperature diamonds and I look at these, I'm going to have to travel like 50, anywhere from I'm going to have to travel 274 light years to get out to the mining location. And then from that mining location to where I want to sell it, I'm going to have to travel another 250, 278, 200. So it's a lot of travel time, both to get out there and then per round trip between the selling station and the mining location. Osmium, you don't have to worry about that. So that's why osmium is kind of another one of the meta materials here at the top of this. The others that are up here are only core mineable. You're only going to find them in core mine, in mother lode asteroids. The reason you might want to focus on those is because, again, we have 694,000 credits per ton. So if we're mining osmium or platinum at 300,000 and we're going to be getting 700,000, if we can mine this in twice the time and get the same tonnage, we still come out okay. If we can mine it faster than twice in half or twice the time, then we come out ahead on credits per hour. So that's why they're in here, in case you want to go mine those things. there's ways to look at it here. Okay. So the what of what you want to go mining are really these four things here. All right. And we're going to focus on low temperature diamonds today. And the reason for that is because the demand is a problem. Now, this leads into the where we want to mine. So EddyTools helps us determine that. And we're going to go into low temperature diamond overlaps. Now, there is a thing called a hotspot. So I'm going to bring up a map here. Okay. And it's going to show a picture of the planetary ring. Now, when you go up to a system, you have to have a detailed surface scanner, and you shoot a probe into the ring, and it locates these hotspots. The hotspots boost the yield on laser mining chunks that come out, both the number and the quality of those chunks inside that hotspot. The closer you are to the center of the hotspot, the more of a boost you're going to get. Okay, so if you can find hotspots that are all the same material and they overlap, you get this Venn diagram here where certain percentages will overlap, and there's a spot in the middle where all three of those hotspots overlap each other and they all multiply with each other. So finding overlaps or triple overlaps like this is where you want to go laser mining. It's by far the most efficient way to go about doing it. Okay, so you're looking for hotspots as a place to go mine. Is there another way to do that? Or is there another where that you're going to be looking at? Absolutely. And that where has to do with resource sites. And I'm going to pull up the wiki page for a resource extraction site here. There are 4 levels of resource extraction sites. Okay, there are hazardous, high, the regular site, and low. They can give you up to a 100% bonus on fragments dropped from a given rock and an increase in the ore extracted from those fragments, as long as you stay within 20 kilometers of the center of the resource site. Now, what's the downside here? The downside is pirates. In a hazardous resource extraction site, pirates are going to have a very high spawn rate. So what do you do to counteract that? Well, one, you stay around the outskirts. You stay out there in that 18-kilometer away from the center spot and try and mine out there. So it's less likely that a pirate's going to jump right on top of your head and disrupt you. You also need to go to a system that has a high security level, low, medium, and high, because those resource sites are going to have security ships that will help protect you from that. You can also arm your mining ship if you want. I choose not to do that. I think it's fairly useless. I don't think they're any good at fighting off pirates, especially in a Haz-Res. But it is a very, very good way to get a boost in your resources. If you can find a resource site inside of a hotspot, you're going to get double the bonuses. Okay. I don't do a lot of Haz-Res mining because I don't arm my mining ships, but I have to mention it as part of the where do you want to go mining, because it is definitely a viable way of getting more resources when you go mining. Okay, so we're going to explore this gameplay loop, but the last thing I want to talk about before we go do it is the why. Why are we mining these particular things? And again, that has to do with the cost, the selling, the credit bonuses that you get for them. Okay, now those credits can do 2 things. 1, they can just flat get you money. But 2, they can also get you merits. Okay, and there's a website here called the Elite Dangerous Merit Miner. And you can go in here and plug in some information about what you're going to go do, and it will give you the locations of where you need to go mine, and then where you have to sell those metals or minerals to get merits in addition to the credits. Now, you might not get the absolute highest value per ton for this stuff because there's a very specific reason this works, and it's in the how-to here. Basically, if you're mining at a fortified system, then you need to sell at an unoccupied system in acquisition that's within 20 light years of where you mined it. If you're mining in a stronghold system, you need that boost that to a 30 light year radius. Okay, this is a very specific set of combinations that you need to have. So you might not get the perfect selling price here, but you're going to get merits for it. And you're still going to get a good price out of it. The second way to do it is if you're reinforcing your own system, you mine it in that system and you sell it in the same system. Now, this is when you're reinforcing, you're going to get a minus 35% penalty on your merits. So it's easy to do, to find a system where you own it or your power owns it and you're just staying inside the system to do it, but you're not going to get as many merits from it. Okay? But there are two ways to go about doing it. So what you do, our reference system doesn't really matter that much. You put your power in here. We're going to go with acquisition. We don't care about the opposing power. We're going to look, we can leave the ring type for all, but if you're looking for instance, low temperature diamonds, like I am, you're going to be looking for pristine rings. That's all you're ever going to be looking for. You're not going to be looking for depleted, low, common, major, or anything else. You're always going to be mining in pristine rings. If you're doing it anywhere else, you're doing it wrong. Okay. The ring type for low temperature diamonds is only icy. Okay. And you can put your mining type in here. So we could change this to laser surface and core, or we can just leave it at all here, and we can run a search and see what it comes up with. Okay. Now, I may have to change some of the variables here depending upon what it comes back with, but we'll see. So here, what it's saying is that my mining system, I can go mine in any of these. Okay. I can go to the lock system. I can go to the Planet 5, the B ring. It's the 4 here indicates that it's pristine level of reserves. This one even has a hotspot for low temperature diamonds. That's what that spot means right there. So I go to the 8A ring, pristine level, search for low temperature diamonds that have a hotspot, drop into the hotspot, and start mining it. Once I've mined it, I need to go to the HIP 12314 system to Bentham Station. And when I sell it, I'm going to get 312,000 credits per ton of low temperature diamonds. Now, that's not necessarily all the case because demand plays into this. And this is the last part of the why we need to talk about, that ties in with the where. My mining ship has 287 tons of cargo capacity. If I sell at a station that's only demanding 612, that's like a little bit less than 1/2 of the total demand in one cargo. I'm going to get a 25% penalty on the price. Or I'm going to get a much lower price because I'm more than 25% of the total demand. So you need to find a station that's at least 4 times the demand of what your cargo capacity is when you go there. Okay. And that means that other people have this tool, and as they sell low temperature diamonds at Bentham Station, it lowers the overall demand. So you may have to go, you see what's happening? They've got really low demand, so this for low temperature diamonds is useless because I'm going to be getting paid a lot less. One demand here, somebody's already mined all this or sold all this out. So you need to scroll through these and see if you can find something that has a decent amount of demand. And this is the only one that's available left. So maybe I don't want to be mining low temperature diamonds for merits right now. Maybe I want to be mining platinum or osmium instead at this station that's listed here. Okay. The demand plays a factor in what you're doing. All right. But this is how you mine for merits here. And we'll see this probably not today, but maybe a little later. So for us, we're going to go mining for low temperature diamonds. And let's go ahead and we're going to bring this picture up here. And let's head out to the system. And we're going out to this coal sector system. So I'm going to copy it. We're going to go back here, go to our map. And we're going to highlight it. Okay, now we've obviously never been there before. It's going to take us 11 jumps to get there. Before you leave, make sure that you have limpets. Okay. And let's go ahead and jump out there and we'll do some mining real quick. And we'll kind of show you the difference in targeted mining here. I don't think anybody's out front here. There's not. So let's head out. And I didn't look to see, did I equip a fuel scoop on this thing? Yes, I did. Okay. Again, make sure you have a detailed surface scanner, because to find hotspots, you're going to have to scan the rings when you get out there. So yeah, so back in the day, low temperature diamonds were the meta, or the absolute meta. And then they kind of buffed subsurface mining, using the subsurface displacement missiles. Unfortunately, they buffed it way too much. So for about 2 months, if you weren't doing subsurface mining, you were stupid. You were literally earning 250 to 300 million credits per hour using subsurface mining. It was stupid. Of low temperature diamonds. And they nerfed that. I'm not saying that subsurface mining is not viable. It is. The reason that most people don't do it is simply because of the time and the dexterity that it takes. You saw me doing or working with it last week. The bigger ships with more cargo used to be the meta. So Type 9 and Type 10s and Imperial cutters used to be your mining rigs. Those ships all are horrific when it comes to maneuverability. So trying to orbit around the asteroid while it's spinning and play the mini game at the same time of holding the trigger and releasing the trigger when it hits the blue bar, it takes some dexterity. It really does. But it also takes a ship that is able to do that. And if you have one of those large unmaneuverable ships, it just takes longer to do. You're bumping into asteroids all the time because sometimes they're in close quarters with each other. So it's just not something that people like to do anymore. If you become good at it, it's on par with laser mining and core mining and mapped core mining. It's just not something that I want to be focused on. in any meaningful way. Like I say, laser mining with the occasional core mine thrown in are the fastest way to gather the materials and the easiest way to gather those materials. You don't have to worry about playing any mini games or rotating around an asteroid or venturing inside the cracked asteroid and trying to knock stuff off with your abrasion blaster. You don't have to do any of that. You just roll up, start shooting the asteroid, and collect the winning, collect the spoils. So that's kind of why I tend to focus on it. That tends to be where everyone tends to focus nowadays. But like I said, the current meta is Painite and Platinum. Unfortunately, what happens is something out of your control if you're a new player. Players will spend all week after the server reset mining Painite, Platinum, low temperature diamonds, serendipite, monzonite, muscovite, all the high dollar items. They'll spend the entire week doing nothing but that. Then, as soon as the server ticks over on Thursday, they will immediately start looking at the refinery extraction systems to see if they can find the highest price for that stuff that they mined up throughout the entire week, and they will have thousands of tons. And they will go sell it all at the highest price they can find, and that drives the demand down, which means that we don't get to sell at those stations for full price. They can do that because they can store all of that stuff on their fleet carriers or their squadron carriers, and you don't have access to that as a new player. You can't store your minerals anywhere. You don't have that option with your setup until you get a fleet carrier. So you're at a disadvantage straight off the bat when it comes to these other players that are doing this stuff throughout the week. You just can't compete with it. So that's why I said that demand plays a very important part in where you want to sell, because that demand is so heavily determined by other players that you have no input on whatsoever. You have no control over them, and you can't stop it. So we have to kind of do our best, and that's another reason why I tend to focus on low temperature diamonds, because they're still a focus, but not nearly, they're not, this is the meta, you need to go do this. So there's more options for stations to go sell those things at than there are Painite and Platinum. At least not having to travel 500 light years in a ship that, when it's fully loaded, does what? It does probably somewhere around 19 or something like that light years. So yeah, it can be somewhat of a pain with the other players out there kind of demolishing the economy before you even get a chance to start looking at it. So I'm just fueling up here at this star location. When you get out there, you don't have to worry about your fuel. There's going to be 1,000 carriers out here. You'll see it when we jump in. There are really two main low temperature diamond triple overlaps. There's one here in the call sector. There's one in HIP 4351. And then there's also one that's kind of a bit farther out. I think it's in the Swole system. I'd have to go, I can't remember, I'd have to pull up that document and look at it again. But they're very highly sought after, so people are going to have carriers out there, and they'll have demand orders set up. So you can sometimes find good prices at fleet carriers that are out there as well. So it's a white-yellow star, so yeah, we'll jump out to this one and we'll fuel scoop at the next one. Okay, so I'll have 2 more jumps I need to fuel after this one. And this was the other thing that was good about the large ships, is that they have higher fuel or larger fuel tanks, and they can jump farther without having to refuel. They might not have much more jump range, especially when they're laden, but they have bigger fuel tanks, so they can jump farther without having to stop like I am and fuel scoop. But the disadvantage to large size ships is that sometimes those good prices that you're going to find are at medium sized pads only. They're at outposts. So that's why the Type 11 Prospector was made to be a medium ship, because it allows you to mine really efficiently, but it also allows you to utilize all of the ports to get that best price that you might not be able to get in a large size ship. If that price is at an outpost with only medium or small pads. So yeah, it takes me a little longer to get out to the sites, but once you're there and you're in the site, then you're normally good. So okay, so I should be good to head over there. And we'll find, once we're there, we'll find a carrier, we'll land on it, and we'll refuel. Now, I mentioned something called mapped mining. What is that? Well, I said that inside of a given asteroid field, or inside a given ring around a planet, if you drop into a location and you see some asteroids, if you leave that location and you drop back into that same location again, you're going to see the exact same asteroids. And what that means is that your, what we call mother lode asteroids, are those bright yellow core, seismic charge core mining asteroids, are going to be in the same place if you can find a way to drop into the planetary ring at the exact same spot every time. So what people have devised are, here's where you need to drop in. Here are your landmarks. There's a hotspot here. There's a ring color here. There's a res site over here. You need to point your ship here and drop into the ring at this location. Once you get there, you need to orient your ship toward the planet, and the planet should be 1.2 kilometers away or something like that. And then you're going to fly in this direction until that counter reads this number. And you should see a core asteroid there. Once you've found that core asteroid, you mine it, and then you follow a set of pictures and directions, and again, you make your way to the next core asteroid, and then the next one after that. So you don't have to go searching for them. You know where they are. All you have to do is fly a route. Now, it can be a little hard. You have to know how to navigate without like the compass and that sort of stuff, because there's no degrees or anything you need to follow. You need to learn how to orient yourself based upon the bearing indicator and distances to learn how to fly that route. The other downside is that, like I said, the core asteroids are there for everybody in a system, or whether you're in open or whether you're in solo. We've got McClintock Prospect right here, so we'll just go land here. So whether you're in solo or whether you're in open, those core asteroids are seen by everybody. And if someone else is following that route, you're going to roll up to where that asteroid is, and it's going to look like an exploded cloud of dust. And there's not going to be any way to mine it because somebody beat you to it. Now, they're going to refresh after a certain amount of time, and I think it's 20 minutes or something like that. But back in the day, when mapped mining was a really big thing around the egg, people would set timers. And they'd roll in there and they'd find it was unmined, and they'd mine it and they'd start a timer, and they would drop back in on that asteroid at the exact time when it became available again. So your chances of getting it were slim to none. I mean, it was a whole thing. So I don't like taking that chance anymore. I like to just go leisurely mine my stuff and kind of walk away, even though it's not the most efficient or time-effective way to go do it. Okay, so we did need to come in here. I think we've got enough limpets, I'm not too worried about it. So, where are we going? Okay, well, we are going to... Whoops, not here. We're going to Planet 1, and we're going to be looking at the B ring, which is this ring out here. The A ring is the closest one, then they're B, C, D, etc., moving away from the planet. So we need to head out here, so we're going to set that as a target. And let's go make our way out there. Now this is actually my first time doing this location. Back in the day we had Baran, which was a different system. When Odyssey dropped all of these hotspots and all of the planets and all of the galaxy got rewritten. So Baran, RIP, Baran disappeared. A lot of fond memories of all the hours I spent in there mining. And we've had to find new locations. Well, I had mined all the billions of credits I needed for my fleet carrier and then some way back then. So I haven't been mining until I started this account. So I've never been here to this triple overlap. I'll be anxious to take a look at it and see what it's all about. So we're going to offset from the planet, and we're going to aim to come in from either the top or the bottom here so that we're flat on it. It would be really nice if we were in the dark, but we probably won't be. If you're in that one little spot of dark, it's much easier to find stuff because the glare from the sun doesn't aggravate you. So let me make sure that I have a fire group set for my surface scanner, and I don't. Okay. So we're still out of range. And you see all of these dots, these are all fleet carriers. So you don't have to go very far to refuel or rearm, get more limpets or anything like that when you're here. So now I'm in range. We're going to activate our surface scanner. We're going to move out until we see it say ring. There's the A ring. It will disappear for a second. And then you see where it says miss. That's the slot in between the two rings. And then this ring here is the B ring. I'm going to launch a probe. And it's going to scan that ring. And once it pops up, you're going to see the hotspots. Okay, now I know which ones these are. Low temp diamonds, low temp diamonds, and low temp diamonds. So let's quickly go back to our display and look at this. So here's 2 and 3. Draw a line right between 2 and 3. fly down that line right between them, and you should be a little bit down and to the right of 1. But basically halfway between 2 and 3 is right where you need to be. Now there's something else about this to help you out. You see that these rings are different colors. They're brighter yellow and darker yellow. The brighter the ring is, the more dense the asteroid field is. You want to be in a bright yellow ring somewhere in there. That's going to give you the triple overlap of the hotspot, and it's going to give you the location that has the most physical rocks. They're going to be clustered together more densely. Okay, so that's what we're looking for. So let's slowly make our way in here, and I'm going to kind of orient myself to be straight in between these two. And I kind of want to be right in here, right about in this location, kind of right in between the two hotspots. This is 2, this is 3, that's 1. So in a line between these two, and kind of lined up on that horizontal line between hotspot number 1, probably a little bit down here below it. And I want to aim for a bright yellow ring as I make my approach. And the other thing, that yellow dot in the center of my screen, you might not have that on if you're on console or on PC. Look through your settings. On PC, I think it's called centered, or on console, I think it's called center dot, and you can turn it on. On PC, it's called something else, I think, or vice versa. I can't remember which is which. Turn that on so you're better able in instances like this to point where you want to go. Okay, so I'm going to aim for this bright yellow ring right in here. And as I get closer, you're going to see that ring resolve more. Okay, so this bright yellow right in here, and you can see there's going to be more brighter yellow. So I'm going to aim right there. Okay, now I was a little too fast, but I don't care. Okay, I'm immediately going to put night vision on. You always want night vision on. You can see how dense this is. You can see how many of these asteroids I have everywhere. And that's because we landed in the bright yellow ring. Okay? So now what I'm going to do is on my sensor globe in the bottom, I can see that there's some ships. I want to wait, give myself 20 seconds or so, or up to a minute, and kind of wait around and see if any ships show up. Because they're more than likely going to be pirates. And I want them to scan me with an empty hold before anything happens. But in the meantime, I can pop out some pulse waves and kind of see what's around me and see if I have any kind of good prospects for core mines. I'm going to pop my cargo scoop out, and I don't need all of this to engines. So what I want to do is kind of something like that, where I can regenerate shields. Still have a little bit to engines to move around. It's easier to see the bright yellow colors if it's nighttime or if it's in darkness. Now, there was a question last week about shapes. Do certain asteroids have certain shapes, these mother lode asteroids? The answer is absolutely yes. I can tell you right now that this asteroid here is not a mother lode asteroid. It looks like it, but it's not going to be. Mother lode asteroids look like that one right there. They look like a piece of popcorn. Okay? That have those circular bulges around them. This one's bright yellow, but it's the wrong shape. Okay, now it might have other things in it, So if I launch a prospector here, it may have subsurface or something like that in it, but it's not going to be a mother lode asteroid. It's not going to have a core in it that I can break apart. Okay. So in this case, you can see it's got subsurface mining in it. That's what those icons are for the subsurface displacement missile. So when you find, when your pulse wave lights up something that's bright yellow, you can look at the shape and you can instantly know whether or not you even need to go investigate it or not. Okay. So for me, and I didn't look at that prospector. It's right there. So there's no low temperature diamonds in that asteroid. Okay, so I'm just going to go find another one and launch another prospector at it. Okay, now again, I'm keeping the planet on my left as I go mining here. And I'm just going to be launching prospectors until I find low temperature diamonds. Okay, now low temperature diamonds, like I've mentioned before, they're a high-priced rare commodity, so you're not going to find them everywhere. They're not like all over every asteroid. You're going to have to go looking for them. Okay, and there's low temperature diamonds. And you can see the percentage is 13.28%. Okay, you really don't want to be spending your time on anything less than 15%. Some people say 20, some people even say 25. I think you're just going to be spending too much time just flying around looking at stuff, at random things, if you're trying to go up that high. I set my limit at 15%. So if it's not at least 15%, I'm not even going to spend time mining it. I'm going to go looking at other asteroids and see if I can find a higher percentage somewhere. Okay, now there's tritium, which is a good thing to mine. It's just not something I'm going to be interested in mining right now. And I think I mentioned this briefly last time. When I'm prospecting, it's going too fast. When I'm prospecting, I don't want to be looking for asteroids that are spinning super fast. Okay? I don't mind an asteroid that's spinning. I just don't want it to be super duper fast. That's going to make it much harder for me to, and my limpets, to collect the materials if the asteroid is spinning super fast. This one's spinning pretty fast, but it's on an axis I can handle, so... Okay, and again, keeping that planet on my left. Throwing out the occasional scan every once in a while. to see where I might have other asteroids. I just want to look at that one real quick. Don't think that's the right well, that might be the right shape. We'll go look at it here in a second. I think it's too big. I don't think it's the popcorn. It's the small popcorn shaped one, but I'll go look at it. Yeah, this one's not. That one right there is the right shape. This one is not. But I'll just illustrate it. This thing loses prospector limpets like crazy. I'm not entirely sure what's different about the Type 11 prospector. Yeah, see, no core inside of it. And while that is on its way, so there's one with 23.32. Okay, so it's not just low temperature diamonds though. It's water, it's methane clathrate, the material content is low, okay, but we're going to mine this anyway. Now, how do we go about mining this? Well, you want to point downwards, and you can see the dot there. So my volley repeater is going to be hitting off to the bottom right. Okay, you can see where it's going to be hitting the asteroid. What I'm going to do is hold down the mining volley repeater and my secondary button at the same time so I can drop out collectors while I'm firing. And you just watch the minerals remaining on the bottom left. And you can see I didn't take hardly any heat at all. And my weapon capacitor didn't deplete, so I don't need that many weapons. I can decrease the number of pips. And now if I watch my refinery here, I'll see that each low temperature diamond is getting me, give or take, 15% of the way through. 43 to 62, so yeah, 15, somewhere around in there. 15% of the way. Once it reaches 100, it refines a ton and it puts it in your inventory. And in my inventory, I've got some water, got some low temp diamonds, and all those limpets. I still have 6 more that I could put out. Might as well put all 14 out. Okay, and then I'm going to change back to my prospector once they're all done. And we'll start looking around for more asteroids. Okay, now if I was using the prospector limpet in the multi-limpet controller, that would have destroyed one of my collector limpets. So 5.24% low temperature diamonds, not something I'm interested in. And while that prospector's on its way, I'm going to be finding the next asteroid.
Prospector limpet engaged. Programming limpet drone. Prospector limpet failed. Prospector limpet engaged.
Okay, there's 27.12.
Asteroid scan complete.
So now what I want to do with this is I want to find the center of rotation. Okay, so it's kind of up here. And then I want to point toward the bottom. And it's going to pop those chunks out down below the asteroid. If the asteroid hits your collector limpets, it will destroy them. So you don't want that to happen. Okay, now all of these are chunks have popped out below me. So I'm going to kind of move into the field and let the limpets collect them and drop them into my hold, which is on the bottom of my ship. And I can slowly move down, get them closer to the chunks that are farther down. And then once they're all in a circle again, I can put the planet on my left, select back to my prospectors, and start looking.
Prospector limpet failed. Prospector limpet engaged. Programming limpet drone. Prospector limpet failed. Prospector limpet engaged.
That one's a little bit too fast for my taste.
Programming limpet drone. Asteroid scan complete. Prospector limpet failed.
It's not bright enough to be a core, I don't think. It is the right shape, though.
Prospector limpet engaged.
And it's been a little bit too fast.
Asteroid scan complete.
This one's spinning fast, but it's on a good axis.
Prospector limpet failed. Prospector limpet engaged. Programming limpet drone. Asteroid scan complete. Prospector limpet failed.
Okay, now one other thing to be careful about, low temperature diamonds, but at only 8%, is that you see the limpets, they're below me. And I've got two ships that just popped up on my radar. Behind me.
Prospector limpet failed.
So I'm going to have to keep an eye on those.
Prospector limpet engaged.
Somebody might be trying to interrupt my mining session here.
Scan complete. Prospector limpet failed. Prospector limpet engaged. Programming limpet drone. Asteroid scan complete. Prospector limpet failed. Prospector
So what I was saying earlier was that the limpets are below my ship. If you
asteroid
if you fly really close above an asteroid, your limpets will get destroyed by that asteroid. So you want to make sure that what's underneath you is clear as you're flying through these asteroid fields.
Prospect limpet engaged. Programming ether drone. Asteroid scan complete. Prospect limpet failed. Prospect limpet engaged.
I think I saw... Yeah, that's not the right shape.
Asteroid scan complete. Programming ether drone.
Like I say, I'm not really interested in
Prospect limpet failed.
core mining. If I find a core, I'll take it. But I'm not going out of my way to look for core asteroids. If I was, I would not be doing it this way. I would stay well above or below the asteroid field so I have a better view
Asteroid scan.
to search for the cores.
Prospect limpet failed.
Okay, there's another one. So this one's barely moving.
Asteroid scan.
So I'm going to come in, aim for the bottom, and move in close. And I can rotate my ship so that that line is going right beneath my ship. And yeah, you can see the limpets are going straight down and right back up to pick up those chunks. And that's what you're looking for. You don't want the chunks to be above you and the limpets have to go all the way around your ship to get back in. And again, you can slowly move yourself down to get them closer to where the chunks are. You don't want to go too fast because they'll run into you and destroy themselves. But you can slowly move yourself down. And that just means they're going to be able to collect them faster. Okay.
Programming ether drone. Prospect limpet failed. Prospect limpet engaged.
Don't really want that one there, but there's one here that's hardly moving.
Ether drone. Asteroid scan complete. Prospect limpet failed.
And there's one behind it that's hardly moving. And there's another one for low temp diamonds.
Asteroid scan.
Okay, so this one's hardly moving at all, so again, we'll move in close. Kind of aim toward the bottom. Now, what I'm also going to do during this time is look at my inventory and see what I've got. I don't need the water. Now, I'm going to abandon those. If you jettison them, your collectors will pick them back up. I want to abandon them. And that will eject them and you'll get rid of them. I'll keep the bromelite and tritium. I don't really need them, but... Okay, so it looks like we're coming to the end of our collector limpets.
Programming ether drone. Collector limpet expired.
So the timers run out, and next time we mine, we'll have to go eject some more.
Prospect limpet engaged. Programming
This one's moving quite a bit,
asteroid scan
but I see where the center is, so...
failed. Prospect limpet engaged. Asteroid scan complete. Programming limpet drone. Prospect limpet failed. Prospect limpet engaged. Asteroid scan complete. Programming limpet drone. Prospect limpet failed.
Okay, now we're not going to spend the entire time doing this. I'm going to get one more asteroid,
Prospect limpet engaged.
and then we're going to go look at selling them.
Asteroid scan complete. Programming limpet drone. Collector limpet expired. Prospect limpet failed.
Because, yeah, watching me go around and prospect asteroids is probably not the most engaging gameplay. So, we're not going to spend the whole episode doing it. This kind of gives you a good idea about what you're in for.
Programming limpet drone. Prospect limpet failed. Prospect limpet engaged. Asteroid scan complete. Programming limpet drone. Prospect limpet failed.
And normally whenever I shoot out a prospector, I'll also activate the pulse wave analyzer.
Prospect limpet engaged.
So 17, that'll be good enough for today. Like I say, I normally wouldn't do it,
Complete.
but I'm not going to spend the entire time doing this. So since I need to put collectors out, I'm going to launch the collectors while I'm firing. There were a lot of chunks in that one.
Programming limpet drone.
So what do we end up with? 66 tons. I don't need the methanol. I'll keep the tritium. But yeah, in that, what was that? 25 to 30 minutes maybe? We're gonna end up with probably somewhere around 75 tons. Which is 1/4 of my total ship inventory down there on the bottom. So in being out here for an hour and a half, you're gonna fill your hold up with 200 and almost 300 tons worth of low temperature diamonds. Okay, so let's close our cargo hatch. We'll reset our pips and everything. And we're just going to aim out of the asteroid field. Start making our way out. Okay. So now let's change over to our other display and we'll look at where do we want to go. So this is always a good place to start, but like I said, don't treat it as gospel. So what I'm going to do is look at finishes. I normally try and go down this list a little bit because everyone has access to the same list. And I try and look at what has a decent amount of demand left. Now I have 75 tons in my cargo. That's it. So if I find something with at least 300 demand, I'm going to be able to sell for full price. So let's look at Davis Gateway here. I don't think I'm going to... I think Davis is completely... we're going to go to the market. Is that the right system? Yeah, it's 3.6. Okay. It's being annoying. There it is. Let's go to low temperature diamonds. And we're getting 220,000 credits per ton, and there's 1,021. Okay, so it says the price may be lower than displayed if you have more than 255 units of this commodity in your cargo hold. So I'm not getting that price that was on here, and that's probably just been mined completely out, or sold completely out. So the Narbeth refinery here, let's go check it. $384,000 credits per ton. So let's go there. So we're going to go to our map. We're going to drop there. Okay, and that's 5 jumps away. And we're not going to do that. Not mass locked. So let's just head out and away from the planet, then we'll circle back around it. And I'll get rid of that annoying collector limpet sound. Now again, I'm not doing mining for merits here, so this is more just finding the best sell price. And I didn't look to see how old that listing on Inara was for Narbeth Gateway, so while this is charging, I'm gonna go look. It was 3 hours ago. So let's see if it's still accurate. Sometimes you get to these locations and you will be disappointed. Things like Inara and other external databases like that, how they work is they work through reading either the log file on your computer that is created every time you make a jump, or the log file that's kept on the server, but the FDev limits how often you can update directly from the server, or else you'd have thousands of players all updating thousands of times and it would lag servers out. So most of them tend to read the log file on your computer. But what that means is that it's taking your information and it's combining it with information it's gathered from other pilots to make these databases. That does not necessarily mean that every player connects with these exterior databases. If you don't ever use Inara, or you don't have ED Market Connector installed, or anything like that, you might not be uploading information to those databases. So the databases are a good way to get fast information, but they're not always 100% accurate about some of that information, because it relies on players to have basically given that information to the system, and we might not have done that. So here we go, and we're going to be looking for Narbeth Refinery. And again, refinery / extraction stations are going to be the ones that are going to be paying the most for all of these. I'm pretty sure that if I go back to the that the Dark Wheel, who's the owner of this system,
Fuel scooping.
so on our way out here,
Fuel scoop disengaged.
772 light seconds. Oh, we've got an SCO drive. I forgot. I was going to look it up, but while I'm making my approach here, I'll go look it up. I'm going to go look up the Inara webpage for the system. And yes, that's what I thought. We'll look at it here in a second once we land. Because the same thing that happened to the quantity of Soontill relics has happened here in this system. The faction states have aligned to give us an incredible price that they want for this particular commodity. Okay, it doesn't happen very often, but when it does, it's always going to result. And I've got somebody coming after me. I think they just popped up on the left-hand side of my sensor bubble. I should be able to get in here before they get to me, though. Nope. She's coming in behind me right now. You can see her down there. Let me see if I can boost. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. I'm in. I'm in the no-fire zone, so I'm safe. FDev really needs to do something about the volume of these thrusters. Try not to get a loitering infraction. Okay, so I'm going to change to my display real quick. And you see the station here is owned by the Dark Wheel. The Dark Wheel faction is in Boom, Civil Liberty, and Expansion. So all three of the highest tier or most profitable categories in each of the three main system categories are all active here, and that's what's going to give you these prices that you're seeing. So let's take a look at the commodities market. We'll go to sell, and what do you know, 381,000 credits per ton. We're going to get full price because we have much less than 25% of this number in our cargo space. So let's go ahead and just sell off all these things. So not going to get a whole lot of profit there. Not going to get a whole lot of profit there, but here we go. 29 million credits. So in that 20 to 25 minutes, it's 29 million credits. Okay, so when I say that mining, when I said last week, when somebody asked the question on stream, is mining a fast way to get credits? The answer is yes. If you're doing targeted mining and you're using the correct third-party tools to find out where you need to go, it can be very, very lucrative. Now, if I would have done this with my entire hold, which is 287 tons divided by 76 times 29 million, I'd have ended up with 110 million credits for what would have been maybe an hour and 15 minutes worth of work. Okay, so we're getting somewhere around 100 million credits per hour on this. Is that the fastest way to earn credits? The answer is no. There is another way to, well, there are other ways to earn credits, but let's talk about what you can do to boost this mining. And that's something that we haven't discussed yet, and that's multiplayer. Wings are a thing in this game. You can partner up in a party, so to speak, with up to 3 other players, or a group of 4 of you, and when you fly, you all fly in the same instances. The game forces you as a group into the same instance. So if I drop into an asteroid field and my partners in my wing are focused on me, they will pop into the exact same instance that I do. You can all go mining at the same time. Now, what does that mean? Well, it means when I find an asteroid that's got 29% in it, and I go mining low temperature diamonds, it's going to pop out, and let's just say, I'm making up numbers, that asteroid is going to eject 40 fragments for me. It's going to eject those same number of fragments for every other person that's out there in your wing. If there's 4 of you, that's a total of 160 fragments. Whoever's limpets collect them is whoever's limpets collect them. It might not necessarily be your limpets, it might be your partner's limpets if you're all collecting, or if you're the only one doing the collecting, then it might be just you collecting them all. So you're going to get more, but it's basically the same amount per person. However, when you go to a refinery and you're still in your wing and you go sell it, you're going to give everybody else in your wing a 5% bonus. They're going to get a 5% trade dividend, basically. 5% of whatever you sell for, they're going to get as free cash for not doing anything. Now, when they sell theirs, you're going to get 5% of what they sold. So if everybody equally splits that money, or those, that haul of diamonds, at the end of the day, you're going to get a 15% cash bonus on top of what the normal sale price is, because everybody else, the other 3 people in your wing, are giving you a 5% bonus. Okay, so that's how that's going to work. when you're in a wing, you get that same bonus in every type of activity. So if you're in a wing, you're always going to be earning credits faster. So if you're wing mining or you're wing combat killing enemies, that is probably the most effective way to earn credits nowadays. And what does that mean? So if I look under combat here, and I'm not going to be able to see, this is a bad example. Because this is, well, it's a bad example because of this system. This system's all happy and nice and super secure. So it's a bad example. You're going to find missions to go out and kill pirates. And some of them are going to have a little blue icon in the bottom left-hand corner that says this is best done in a group. You don't have to do it in a group, but you can do it in a group. And if you're doing that, stacking wing massacre missions where you need to go massacre pirates and you get missions from different factions, those missions, if you're killing the same pirate faction, are all going to count toward each other at the same time. So, for instance, just to kind of explain that a little bit more, if I'm looking at this and I scroll down through these, over there on the right, another bad, all of these combat missions are from the Dark Wheel. So if these were wing missions, they're not going to stack with each other. I could take all of them, but if they're killing a pirate group here, killing a pirate group here, killing a pirate group here, they're not going to stack with each other. I'm going to have to complete one before I can start working toward the next one. However, if there's a combat mission to kill pirates from this person, and a combat mission to kill pirates from this person, and a combat mission from this person to kill pirates, and it's the same group of pirates, if you kill a pirate, it's going to count one kill toward all three of the missions you picked up. Okay? And that's called stacking of missions. They don't stack inside your own or inside one faction, but cross-faction, you can complete multiple ones at the same time. And if you find the right system to do that, wing massacre missions are by far the fastest way to earn credits nowadays. Now, that being said, and we've got 10 jumps to get home, so let's start making our way home. That being said, the Soontill relics are a thing right now. Okay? So, and sorry, I was doing that explanation and wasn't paying attention, but Sir Riddick asked a question, what do I know about Raxla? So, Sir Riddick is obviously somebody who's played this game before, and probably for a while. So, Raxla is, and it's kind of where we are right now. If you looked, that faction that I was pointing at a little bit ago was called the Dark Wheel. The Dark Wheel, there is some lore in the game that the Dark Wheel is associated with a hidden place somewhere in the galaxy called Raxla. There are no clues, really, that have led any pilots to it. But no one has explicitly found what Raxla is. It is in the game. It's mentioned. It's either a system or it's something inside of a system. The devs actually came out several years ago and said that somebody's actually been in the system where Raxla is. They just didn't realize it, or they didn't communicate it because they're not on any forums or something like that. But it's one of those like Bigfoot things in the game. It's an Easter egg. No one has for certain found it or been in it or can explain where or what it is. But it is a thing in the game, and people are actively searching for it. And like I say, it's one of those Easter eggs that everybody's trying to find. Now, in 10 years, nobody's found it. but people are still actively trying to sort through all the clues and information we have about it to try and find out what and where it is. You can go do a Google search and you'll find a lot more about the lore behind the Dark Wheel and Raxla and where it was mentioned in game and what the clues have been related to it. It's not something I've spent a whole lot of time trying to follow up on, but it is the longest running unknown Easter egg in the game. So, but yeah, that's what Raxla is. But yeah, Sir Riddick there is probably asking that to see how long I've been playing the game, because new players don't really know anything about it. And like I say, Sir Riddick has probably been playing this game for a while.
System scan complete. Fuel scoping.
So people ever since and Dread asked a question about Easter egg stuff and kind of how we find it and is it part of that. I will say this, ever since the Thargoid sensor came out, like I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, ever since that was added into the game and people ran that signal through an actual real-life spectrum analyzer and found the Morse code in it and found the ship outline drawn in it and all that sort of stuff, people have run every strange sound in this game through a spectrum analyzer. So, if there was a clue about where Raxla was that was hidden in a radio transmission that was part of something that was readily findable in the game, we would know about it by now. Not saying it's not hidden in some radio signal or some tourist beacon somewhere, but if it is, it's in a tourist beacon that we haven't found yet. Because if it's out there, somebody would have found it and said, hey, I've got this new tourist beacon that I ran a Google search on and no one's ever heard about it and it's not anywhere, and people would have went there, recorded it, and run it through it and come up with it. So, but yeah, it's one of those hidden things that is very, very briefly, and I say very briefly, mentioned in the game, but that has a whole, and I'm not saying conspiracy theory because it's actually a thing. FDev has said it's in the game and somebody's been there, but it's kind of one of those, we don't know what it is, we don't know where it is, and there's a whole lot of speculation and theories and unproven hypotheses about it. So it's kind of fun. It really is kind of fun. But when we've only explored like 0.06% of the galaxy, it doesn't shock me that we haven't found Raxla. FDev is loath to give any hints about it, other than to say that somebody's actually been there. So people have gone back through EDSM star maps and traced other pathways everybody's been and all that sort of stuff. So, oh, you asking, do I know what that thing is? I mean, Raxla is a it's a place or a thing, but not necessarily like an intangible thing. It's mentioned, like I say, in the lore. It's mentioned as a place or an item. So everyone says, and I can't jump there. That's a brown dwarf. And I can't scoop there. I need to be paying more attention. I need to find a star here. Brown dwarf, brown dwarf, brown dwarf. These are all brown dwarfs. There's a white yellow. Let's jump there instead.
Frameshift drive charging.
Oh, you're asking if there's a specific Easter egg concerning those signals. That I don't know. Yeah, that I don't know, Dread. Like I say, I haven't paid a whole lot of attention to all of the Easter eggs. There's a whole community around that. I just never really got into it enough to pay attention to all those things. So yeah, sorry, don't know the answer to that one. And we're just gonna slow down here and we'll let this scoop for a bit. And watch my heat and try not to overheat. So what are we going to do for the last hour here? Well, I did talk about wing combat missions as a way to earn credits. There are two things in this game that two major gameplay loops in this game right now that I am not able to really participate in. One is large volume cargo hauling. I don't have a Plipper yet. And by Plipper, I mean a Panther Clipper Mark II. The ship with the highest cargo capacity in the game. I do not have one. That ship is going to run me somewhere, I think, around the 300 million credit range to buy, and probably 500 million-ish to outfit. I think what I'm going to do is, and cargo runs are very valuable. They can make you a lot of money if you're doing the right ones. So I could very well go buy and outfit a Plipper and make that money back fairly quickly. What I'm going to do though is I'm going to go a different way. And what we're going to do is we're going to make our way home here. And we've got, and I need to run this back up. I got 3 jumps left, so I'm almost enough where I can make it. We're gonna head back and I'm gonna demonstrate one of the Federation rank grind loops for you. I'm going to demonstrate one of the bounce loops. It'll take about 15 minutes to do. And when we get that done, we will be Federation rank of Rear Admiral. And that is going to unlock the Federal Corvette. And that is the end-all be-all of PvE combat ships in the game. And again, I don't think that's really a hot take, but I may get some hate from Cutter users or T10 Defender users, or even Alliance Challenger and Chieftain flyers, or the PvP crowd, which I'm not saying it's the best PvP, because it's not. But it is, in my opinion, the single best PvE ship in the game. And we're going to take a look at it once we unlock it. And that's what we're going to do here for the last hour. We're not going to be able to fully outfit it because I'm going to bring up a build and you're going to see how much it's going to take to outfit a Corvette. It is by far the most expensive ship in the game to outfit. And even though I've got 750 million credits or something like that, it's not even close. to what I'm going to need to fully outfit the ship. Now, most of that is because of the armor choice. I think the armor alone is 450 million credits. So I can outfit the ship fully without having that armor on it, and then spend some time getting the extra amount of credits to apply that armor. It won't be a bad ship by any means without that armor. It just won't realize its full potential until it does have that armor on it. We'll talk a little bit about that build for the last bit on the stream, and then what I'll do off stream tomorrow night before the Saturday live stream is see if I can get some credits back. And what we'll do is we'll get into some combat gameplay loops on Saturday. And I can start going down that particular road. So here we are back home. Well, one more jump to get back home. And we will get into our Mandalay. Yeah, and Dread, that 752, and I'm actually gonna go pull up my ship list, my main account ship list. And I'll look at mine here. So my Panther Clipper worth or value right now is about 303 million on my main account. And I wasn't paying attention, so loop of shame. My federal Corvette on my main account is 893 million. 894 million and change. Or 893 and change. The build that I have currently set up on a build out here, I haven't looked at it recently, but I think it's going to be over 1 billion credits to build it out, but we'll look at it here in a second. And like I say, it's not even close. If you're trying to outfit this thing compared to any other ship in the game, for what it's doing, it's not even close. It's going to be 25% more expensive than any other ship in the game you're trying to outfit. Ooh, overshoot. Used to my Mandalay. I've been flying the Mandalay all week. So my muscle memory is kind of stuck there. Alright, so let's get on our Mandalay here. And yeah, Dread, if you're over 1,000 on your Clipper, you're good. I mean, you need a very specialized build for that 1,200 number. and you're sacrificing so much in the way of jump range and all sorts of other stuff to get 1,200 tons. It's not worth it, in my opinion. You're at a perfect number there. So anything over 1,000, you're golden. Oh, yep. Forgot. Need to sell off my extra limpets. Okay, so let's get back in our Mandalay. Okay, so you're going to see here that I have a couple of stations bookmarked. Abraham Lincoln and Popoff Station. So we're going to start at Abraham Lincoln. Now, the one thing I will say to optimize this loop, if you have a Type 8 transporter that has 400 plus tons of cargo space, you want to do this loop in something like that. The more cargo space that you have to do this loop, the better off you're going to be. All right, so let's head out. This is one of the other reasons that I chose this location years and years ago as my home base. I'm right near Sirius. I'm right near Seoul. I'm right near a lot of the important systems for doing these type of loops. So, because here I'm one jump away in my Mandalay.
Detachment confirmed. Depart safely from the station.
And of course it would be right behind the planet. In the huge open skybox, I have the one spot where it's right behind the planet. Now we could spend an entire 3-hour live stream just exploring the Sol system, our home system. We're not going to, but yeah, we could. There's so many cool things to see in this system. It's really a really cool place to visit once you've got it unlocked. Okay, so when you pop in, I normally line up so it's Abraham Lincoln's kind of pointing upward. Super Cruise overcharge out to it. And it's normally around the backside of the planet. Now this is it's gonna change its orbit location depending upon time of day and all that sort of stuff and where you're at. So yeah, this one's kind of down and to the right on the front side, so makes the approach easier. And there's Earth. Oh, that was dumb. I wasn't paying attention. I was thinking about that loop graphic and what I was going to say about it next. And wasn't paying attention. There we go. Now, when you're doing this loop, you probably want to activate auto dock, because you're going to run this loop and you're going to go to these stations dozens of times and it gets monotonous. And while this thing is doing its auto docking, you can be doing other things. You can be watching a movie, or you can grab something to drink, or something else. Yeah, I wasn't, like I say, I'm not paying attention here too much. I'm showing how bad a pilot I am when I'm not paying attention.
Landing gear deployed.
Okay, so when you land, you're just refuel once. You're not going to have to refuel again, no matter how many hours you spend doing this loop. It's all too close. So once you go to Starport Services, first thing you want to do is go to the mission board and look at what you have. Now there are 5 Federation factions here and 1 independent. So go to all. Now the first time you come here, of the day that you start doing this, you're going to find a lot of these donation missions right off the bat. You're going to find 4 to 10 of them in every one of the stations. Now these are going to take 20 minutes to repopulate. Okay, and these missions are kept server or client side. They're not on the server. So they do not count toward that 75 mission limit that's available at any station. These are free for you to do. You can pay credits to advance your reputation. So here I'm only going to get 1 reputation out of this, so it's not a great fast way to just use these to increase your overall rank, but they certainly help. Okay, so you're going to pick all of these up. You're going to go back, and I'll just pick one up, and for right now, remember my status. I'm at 99% post-captain down there in the bottom left. So I'm going to pick the smallest one here just to see what happens. 125,000 credits. I'm going to accept it. Okay, that mission is going to be into completed missions, so you can immediately go and complete it. Okay, now you see there's still 75 missions available. That's because those do not count toward the 75 mission cap. They're client-side missions, not server-side. So what are we looking for here? So if you scroll down a little ways, there's going to be some delivery missions. And what I normally do is sort these by reputation. You're going to have some delivery missions. Deliver 32 units of bio-waste to this location. You're going to have to travel a couple hundred light years for these. So even though they're pretty good as far as reputation goes, you're jumping a ways to get out to them and then a ways to get back. There's a more efficient way to do this. If you keep scrolling down, you're going to find these type of missions that say supplier needs. You're also going to find source and return. And you see the destination of these is the Sol system. Okay, now all of these here that you're going to find, progenitor cells, grain, tea, medical diagnostic, methane, or not that. Yeah, grain, coffee, synthetic meat, agronomic treatment. All of these things you're going to find here are available from one station, one jump away. So what you can do is if you have a high cargo capacity ship, you can pick every single one of these, load them all up out of here, and then once you've loaded up a max of 20 of these between all these stations, fly out to Popov, buy all the stuff that you need, come back to these stations, drop them off, and when you drop them off, pick up new missions. And that's what the loop is. And every time you land, look and see if you have more donation missions to do. Every time that you pick one of these missions as a reward, here, like Sorcerer, I don't normally take the 3 pip ones. I try and get the ones that have at least 4 or 5, not mining missions, but that have at least 4 or 5 on them. And if it's got the little pirate icon, you're going to get interdicted. Well, possibly. In a big, honking, flipper, yes, you're going to get interdicted all the time. In a smaller ship like the Type 8, it's fast enough that you might be able to get into your destinations without getting interdicted all the time. But you're going to get interdicted, but that ship is small enough to evade the interdictions really easily. But you can stack up all these, come back here, turn them in, and when you turn them in, make sure you select the reputation option. Okay? So you can take more financial rewards for less of this, but you're looking to rank up, and you need reputation to do that. Okay? And that's what the loop is. All of the stuff, water, grain, coffee, all advanced medicines, all of the stuff is available from Pop-Off Station. So you just fly over there, load up everything, come back here, complete all the missions, and do it again. Okay. Now, what happens when you rank up? Okay, so let's look at what that's going to be. And I'm just going to donate here. I'm going to pick these missions to rank up. And once you get the skip button, hit your space bar 3 times, and it will automatically turn the next one in. So you'll quickly learn the button presses to turn all these in. Now I'm getting some merits here as well. Not a whole lot, but I am fulfilling some merits here. And now what we're going to do is look over at our panel over here, and you can see we're at 100% for post captain. When it says 100%, you don't stop earning experience toward your next level. So you're not going to waste anything. So just keep turning missions in. But when it says 100%, you're going to have a special mission available to you at a starport that is controlled by the feds. So here, this system is controlled. You see the icon for the Federation here. So I'm going to go to the mission board. And you see there's a Federation faction here that's in control. The one on the left of the line is in control. So if I go to all, I'm going to see a new mission here. It's always at the top. And it's going to be in yellow, and it's going to have this link icon. That means that you're going to get some reward out of this mission. It's what's called a chain mission. Now, this mission, just like these donation ones, and you see how there's more donation ones here? They've reset. Whenever this mission pops up, it's going to reset the board of all of the client side missions. All the other missions haven't been reset, but all the client side ones have been reset. So I can now take all these and turn these in and get more reputation. The interesting thing here is that client side missions can be board flipped. What I mean by that is back in the day, way back, like 7+ years ago, this mission list, if we didn't like the missions that were in here, we could go back to the main menu here. We could go back into the mission board, and all of these missions in here would now be different. That was called board flipping. FDev removed that from the game, but they underestimated how resourceful people were. So board flipping then morphed into logging out to the main screen and logging back in, and then all the missions would reset. And that became what board flipping was. FDev got wise to that, and they removed that from the game, and they put all the missions on their servers. Okay, they're no longer kept on your machine as a client-side data. They're on their servers, so you can't do any of that sort of stuff anymore to reset the missions. However, these have to be kept client-side. And as such, you can see this is a Federal Navy strike contract. I need to go assassinate a known pirate. I can't do that, probably, in my ship. It's a threat level 0, so maybe I could, but I don't have a combat ship. I don't want this mission to level up. So see, the mission's reset. Okay. All I have to do is go back out to the main mission screen, and it will reset that mission to something new. Now, I can't take this one because evidently it needs more cargo space than what I have. I need to reset it again. And you go until you get one that you want. Now, here's what I suggest. Whichever one you're going to take one that has 5 reputation in it. All you have to do is keep resetting this until you get something that has 5 reputation in it and that is easy for you to do. This is one of the few opportunities where you can actually take a small amount of time and get a mission that's easy, but gives you the maximum reward. So just keep board flipping this until you come up with something that is going to give you 5 reputation and is easy to do. And it normally doesn't take all that long to get a data delivery contract that gives 5 reputation. So here's a Navy courier job. I don't care because this is my last, it's my last mission here. But you can get courier jobs that give you 5 reputation. You can just keep board flipping until you get it. I'm going to take this one because I just want to rank up. And I need to go to Yankees Ed here, and I need to go to Fugelsang Port. So I'm going to accept this one. I'm going to look at my transaction tab. Go to here. I haven't been to this star system. So let's go.
Detach is good. You may leave when ready.
And again, just to illustrate, if I'm going to the next port, Kingfreizack, that thing is a little over 25 million light seconds away. So what I do is, since I don't want to get caught in the planet's gravity well, I kind of offset down, go into super cruise, and kind of loop around the planet, and you'll land there real quick. The next one in line, M. Gorbachev, is like 8 million meters away. You go into super cruise and you almost immediately have to drop out of super cruise. This one is like 1.2 light seconds away from Gorbachev. So it literally takes you like 20 seconds to get from one of these to the other. It's really, really fast to hit all of these. Once you pick up your last mission at Galileo, don't open the system map anymore. Go to your full map and go to Popov Lab, which is right there. And buy your items, come back to Abraham Lincoln and start that loop again. That's kind of how that loop works. Okay, so let's head off here. And we'll go unlock the Federal Corvette. Now I'm going to be interested in something when I buy this Corvette. Because I haven't tried this before. And I'll be really anxious to see. Okay, so we should have a blue marker. It is. Oh, and Popov is a medium. It's an outpost. So you need a medium ship. So that's why I recommended the Type 8. Don't take your Panther Clipper out here looking for Popov. It's not going to work. You won't be able to land at it. You might be able to find a different station that sells the same type of stuff. But if you're using Popov, definitely use a medium ship. And yeah, I wasn't paying attention to chat again. And yeah, Dread, you're absolutely right. The auto dock, normally, since you're the first ship into the system, it won't spawn the others until you're already there. The auto dock normally works fine. The problem is the auto launch when it tries to put you into the queue and it tries to avoid other ships coming in or going out. And it moves you over to the side and you get stuck in the support structure and all that sort of stuff. That's when things get ugly. And I think this one's on top of this group over here. Hope it's up top here. Okay, we will turn this in and we should get some email. Here we go. Okay, now some of that. Okay, so there's my Federal Navy promotion to Rear Admiral. Okay. Now, that means you're not going to get a message about the ships that you unlocked. You're only going to get an additional message if you unlock a system permit. But that Corvette is now unlocked for me. So I need to go find a place to buy it. And I want to try something. I want to go look here and see. Okay, so this is LHS 292. Should be pretty close. So let's go into power play and okay, so this is a fortified system. This is not a stronghold system. I want to go to Sirius first. I don't think... Well, I heard something, a friend of mine told me something that I'm not entirely sure I believe, but I haven't tested it. Because Power Play 2.0 changed a whole bunch of stuff, and I want to look at it real quick. I'm going to buy this from a Liang restation because I want the 15% discount. Just period, end of story. This ship is going to cost me enough credits as it is. I don't want to overpay for it. This is one of those ships I mentioned to you earlier that if you're going to buy it, you want to buy it at a discount. Now, this isn't the most expensive ship overall to buy. The Panther Clipper, I think, is the most expensive ship to buy. I think this is only like 200 million credits. To buy this. So, what we want to do is, I want to go to the Stronghold carrier here. And I want to see what's here. Yeah, and that's kind of what I want to check, is that a friend of mine told me that Stronghold carriers have mega markets. And that would be a surprise to me. A mega market is what we have at Jameson Memorial, where almost every ship and or item in the game is available for purchase there. It's what we're trying to set up in Colonia right now so that people who live out in Colonia have that same option that we do with Jameson Memorial. But they said that Stronghold carriers are the exact same way. I want to look at this and see if that is true or not. Because again, Power Play 2.0 is when stronghold carriers were introduced. I haven't really messed with them much since I came back after the end of the Thargoid stuff. So I'll be anxious to check it out and kind of see exactly what's here. Inara says I cannot buy the Corvette here. So I want to look and see.
Docking request granted.
Geez, everybody's trying to... I've never seen this many active landing pads in the game before. That's crazy.
Landing gear not deployed.
And there's a fight going on.
Landing gear deployed. Docking successful.
Let's
Disengaged.
get down inside. Somebody's getting 8 over there. So let me look and see what's available here for purchase. Now, stronghold carriers are only available for the power that you are pledged to. I'm not going to be able to dock at, you know, a Jerome Archer stronghold carrier. It's only for the ones that we are pledged to, and only once you've completed that first 5 mission initiation to get yourself into it. So let's look at the market here and see what's in the shipyard. So there's 39 ships available here. So that would be almost everything. But what is not here are the Federal and Imperial ships. Yeah. So I can buy every other ship in the game, including all of the independent ones, but I cannot buy any of the superpower ships. Okay, now I do know that location, which is LHS 292, right next door. Already been there, and it is Renfro Vista that I need to go to. And according to Inara, they sell it here. We will see.
Ship released. Engines engaged. Landing gear retracted.
And then what I'll do is I will fly it back here and see what the module selection looks like.
Frameshift drive charging.
Because there are a bunch of Federation systems around here I could buy it from. Jerome Archer is all over this section of space, and Edmund Mayen's also all over it. So there's a bunch of Federation stations I could buy it from, but I'm not going to get a discount there like I am from Liang. So if I can buy the highest ranked Federal ship from an independent power, then hey, I'm going to take advantage of it. Not entirely sure why Liang would have access to Federal military hardware, but I'll take the 15% discount. Noob hammers.
Sorghum features an Indian radioed uniform. Station services are prepped for your arrival. Greetings, Commander. Request approved. Victor for approach to landing pad 05.
Landing gear deployed.
All right, let's check the shipyard here.
Contact. Systems offline.
What do you know? He has all the federal ships here. So the federal ships get unlocked in order as you go. So the federal dropship, then the assault ship, then the gunship. Okay. These are all not great combat ships. that's putting it nicely. They are really not great. These are more like sledgehammers. They're tanks. They're not subtle. They're meant to have a lot of firepower and armor, but they can't maneuver worth a darn. Their shields are horrifically bad. But they're there. The fact that all three of these are so bad is balanced out by how good this thing is. And yeah, I mean, she just looks mean. Okay? I mean, just look at that picture. She just looks mean. Now, what I am saving here, and let me bring it up real quick. The normal cost of the Federal Corvette is 187,969,000 credits. I'm going to get it for 155.8. So I'm saving 32 million credits and change by buying it from a Liangri station. Okay. So I'm definitely going to do it. Going to purchase it. It's going to store my Mandalay. And now we're going to fly this thing back to Sirius and land at the Stronghold carrier, and I'll check out the outfitting. And you see the jump range. I don't know if you saw it. It's going to take me 4 jumps to get to Sirius. Okay, so this thing is not a jump monster. Okay, I can go 6 light years with this thing. You really have to spend a boatload of money getting this thing to be what you want it to be. But once you do, like I say, you are kind of set for the PvE world. And she's gonna handle like a pig when you fly her the first time. No upgraded thrusters. She's a large ship. And you need to be careful getting her out of the mail slot. Because she's just not great at doing anything right now. She's a big lumbering beast that you need to give some love to. And once we get her into Sirius, if we have a mega market there, then we will look at what we can do for outfitting. And I'll bring up the build that we're going to build, and we'll quickly go through it so that I can build this thing out off stream. Because I'm not even entirely sure I have enough engineering materials to engineer what I need on this. The shield boosters alone eat up a huge amount of engineering materials. You'll kind of see that when we get into the build. But I have spent a lot of time perfecting this build for PvP, and it will go into the biggest of combats, and not have a whole lot of problem. It's once you get it built out, it's very low skill, and high reward. So it's perfect for when you just want to go in and kill a whole bunch of stuff. Now, right now, I think it's got the same two pulse lasers. Yeah, it's got 2 pulse lasers. That's hilarious. That the fact that this ship comes with just 2 pulse lasers is hilarious to me. But one thing that I will say is that the reason the Corvette beats the cutter in PvP or PvE is because of how maneuverable it is once you've engineered it. The cutter is fast. It's really fast. But it's only fast in a straight line. And once you get to the end of that straight line and you need to stop, good luck. The thrusters are absolutely horrifically bad. So it will boost fast, it'll go in a straight line fast, but if you want to move either side and you want to maneuver, the cutter will get stomped. I can get in behind a cutter, or an anaconda for that matter, inside this ship and stay there, and it will never be able to turn to face me, because I'm so much more maneuverable than either one of those ships. They're just not going to be able to turn fast enough to bring their forward guns to bear on me. They can be shooting at me with turrets, but they're never going to be able to face me. I can just get in behind them and stay there and not have to worry about them. You can't do that with a cutter or an anaconda. You just can't. So Scott asked a very interesting question that is all over the forums. When do you think we'll get surface mining? The short answer is no one knows. If you're asking me to give my guess on when we're going to get surface mining, and what Scott's talking about is what we mentioned last week with the Rhino, when FDev released information to content creators, their content creator partners, and they released the website information about it. We're going to get a new gameplay loop to do mining. You won't just mine in a ship and asteroid rings anymore, or going around in an SRV and shooting volcanoes on the ground to release materials. We're going to get a dedicated way to mine on the surface of planets using the Rhino. When are we going to get that? Well, the roadmap, if you go back and you look at FDev's post, they put out a roadmap at the beginning of the year. And they talked about in the fall, the end of fall, or in the winter, in Q4, getting what they call feature refresh, I think, is what they called it. No one knew what that meant. No one knows what that means. My guess is that that is when we're going to get surface mining. Is that sometime at the end of Q3 or sometime in the middle of Q4, probably sometime Thanksgiving to Christmas-ish, we're going to get a release, an update to the game that allows us to surface mine. Now, there's going to be some really bad things about that. I guarantee you. The thing that FDev is not telling us is that for them to reset how surface mining works, they're probably going to have to reset why? Why is my docking request denied? I wonder if it's not going to let any of the superpower ships dock at a stronghold carrier. That would be an amazing thing if that was not allowed. Not letting any superpower ships dock at an independent stronghold carrier. Because yeah, I can't dock at the stronghold carrier. Oh, there it goes. I guess it was just limited on docking space, and I gotta go through the I gotta run the gauntlet of lasers to get to my docking station. That's right. There's only 2 large pads on a stronghold carrier, so they both must have been in use. I was like, that would have been really kind of cool if you're an independent power like Leon Ree is, and it denied docking to the superpowers. That would be meta. Oh, and she handles so bad. Oh, she handles so bad. Okay, here we go. We finally got her down. Let's go to outfitting and see what we have available here. So, yeah, Scott, that's when I think we're going to get the surface mining, is that feature reset. But again, to do it, I'm guessing they're going to have to reset everything about planet side generation, because now we're going to have mining materials that you can find on planets. And I'm afraid what's going to happen is all of the stuff like the brain tree locations and the crystal shards that we know about right now to farm engineering materials, all of those are going to be reset. And we're going to have to find new locations all over again, because the planet regeneration is going to have to be redone for every planet in the game. They did this once before, back when they released Odyssey, and everything reset. That's when Baran, the hotspots were a big thing, and then now that's gone after that update, and we now have to find new locations. I think that's going to happen again. And the forums are going to erupt. We're going to have a carbon copy of what we had 5 years ago. I'm with the fleet carrier update, but we'll wait and see. So, I'm going to bring up my other screen here. And this is my build for my Corvette. If I go down here to the price, just a shade over 1 billion credits to outfit this thing. Now, 443 million of that is from a reactive surface composite, and that's the first thing on our armor. Okay, so the Corvette. The Corvette is really built around being the ultimate tank and damage dealer. To be a tank, it needs hefty armor and it needs hefty shields. The best shields in the game are the prismatic shield generators. They have the highest straight absolute hit points in the game. Your armor, the highest absolute amount you can get out of your armor comes from the reactive surface composite. And you'll see kind of how these numbers apply up here under your shield and your armor. Okay. So right now with reactive surface composites, I can get an absolute number of 3981, and I'm 7K on all of the different attack types: explosive, kinetic, and thermal. Okay. That's good. I want the same amount of shields for every type of attack that's going to be launched against me. If somebody's launching or hitting me with railguns, that's thermal and kinetic. I don't want to be entirely based around thermal and weak on kinetic, and the railgun is just beating my shield up because it causes more damage. If somebody's shooting cannons at me, or rockets at me with, or cannons at me, or multi-cannons with kinetic, I don't want to be weak there. But if they're shooting a bunch of beam lasers, I don't want to be fully focused on kinetic and have those lasers do more. So having big numbers here that are all the same is what I was going for with the shield. Same thing with the armor to a little bit less degree. With armor. I want all of those things to be about the same. The shield, however, railguns are a thing amongst PvE enemies, and having a little bit extra kinetic to absorb the railgun shots, which are doing equal amounts of kinetic and thermal, is going to help me out more than you would think. It sounds counterintuitive. I have run this build for a very long time, and trust me, going thermal heavy is not the way you want to go, because to go thermal heavy, you have to sacrifice both kinetic and explosive. You do not want to do that. And that's because most of the shields that you're going to get come with a negative to thermal to begin with, but they're positive in explosive and kinetic. To make that up, to get it positive again, you have to sacrifice these two numbers, and you just don't want to do that. So you're going to end up kinetic positive on your shield, but that's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. So shields and armor, big numbers, high absolute numbers, and effective hit point numbers. But like I say, a lot of that deals with the reactive surface composites, and I just might not be able to afford 450 million for the reactive surface composites. If you take that off of there, this comes down to about 550 million. That's much more easy to build out. You can buy all the other modules in here. Keep your armor at lightweight. Use it in combat, just using your shield and keeping your shield up and not allowing your shield to break, so you never get into your armor, really. And in that case, you can earn enough money to help pay for the reactive surface composite armor. So what I'm going to be doing is building this thing out off stream. I'm going to probably get all the modules put in it today, with the exception of three things. One, I'm not going to be able to get the reactive surface composites. I don't think I can afford it. I've got 572 million credits left. So I'm just not going to be able to buy it. I don't have enough, I don't think, even with the discounts and taking off this 183 million, to be able to afford it all. I'm not going to get the reactive surface composites. I don't have prismatic shields unlocked yet. I'm going to grind out because of that 600 units of Soontill Relics. I'm going to grind that out this weekend. Hopefully. I'm going to do it some tomorrow after work, but I'm going to get it up to level at least 63, which is where these unlock from Li Yongri. And then I'll have access to prismatics. And the other thing I won't be able to have is I don't have the 6A FSD pre-engineered V1 version of the FSD. I need to go farm another Titan drive component for this. I will go do that eventually and get that plugged in here. Everything else I already have unlocked and ready to go, or I'm about to unlock it. The Guardian Shield Reinforcement Package, I don't have unlocked yet, but I have the module blueprint to be able to do it. So everything else I'm going to buy, unlock. I'm going to engineer as much as I can. I won't be able to engineer all of it, I don't think. And then Saturday, we're going to talk about this bad boy. And we're going to go in depth on what the build is, why I've chosen the weapon mix and weapon class ratings that I have. Talk about what shield cell banks do and how they operate. Talk about how to mitigate heat when you're in combat and all sorts of other stuff. And we're really going to delve into this build at the start, and then probably the last half of the stream, we're going to actually go out and start killing some stuff. Okay, we're going to go stick a massive Federation boot, in a bunch of pirates. And we will show how lucrative that can be, because I'm going to be out of credits. I'm going to not fly without rebuy. I'm going to keep a rebuy. And that's a good question, because right now, not outfitted. The rebuy on this ship is 7.78 million down there on the bottom left. When I'm done, this thing is going to be somewhere around 100 million credits for a rebuy. That's harsh. Now, some of my perks in power play, depending upon who kills me and where they kill me, are going to help mitigate that. So if I die in a Leon system, it's minus 80% rebuy cost. Minus 66% rebuy cost when killed by a ship pledged to another power when I'm anywhere else. So depending upon who kills me and where I'm killed, I can mitigate that some. But if you die in this thing, it's going to take a lot to bring it back after it's done. It just is what it is, and hopefully you're not dying that often. Because it is, like I say, the best PvE ship in the game as far as I'm concerned. So that's what we're going to look at on Saturday. A couple of reminders that I mentioned at the start of this. One, the Soontill Relics in the Nguri system are up to 600 tons that are available for each trip. If you go spend 5-6 hours doing that, you're going to end up completely maxed out on your power rank by running those through the 200 light year range away to an acquisition system. You're simply going to max out. You're going to get multiple ranks per trip, and you're going to max that out really quickly. This doesn't come around very often, so definitely take advantage of it now while you get the opportunity. Tomorrow, those states may change, and that number could drop back down to 80. So take advantage of the 600 while you've got it here and max out your power ranking while we have this opportunity. Second thing, I'm probably going to be doing a little bit more stuff off stream as we go through this. So I'm going to try and prepare new gameplay loops for the Saturday streams, and on the Thursday streams, it will be, here's kind of what I did while I was off stream, and here's an example of how we're doing that. I kind of did the reverse of it today. I kind of did the, here's a new gameplay loop with the mining stuff on Thursdays. I'm going to try and avoid that in the future. I'm going to try and do Thursdays as more of a, here's what I got up to and here's how we did it type of thing. And then Saturdays will be the, here's the new gameplay loop stuff. But I'm going to try and make a little change in it. We'll kind of see how it goes. But for now, we're going to get a new gameplay loop on Saturday with combat, and we'll start exploring that. So I think that kind of brings us to the end of the live stream today, and it gives us a good place to end things today. So, as always, thank you all for being here today. I've said it before, I'll keep saying it again. My community is great. Thank you very much for all the comments that we get in chat and all of the interactions that I get from all of you. It's always a lot of fun for me to have these interactions, and I certainly do appreciate it. Thank you to all my channel members and anyone who's given any other support to the channel. I've said before, I'm never going to ask you for those things. It's not what I really care about when I'm doing these, but I am deeply appreciative for anybody who takes it upon themselves to want to do that. So, as I always say, thank you for your support, because without your support, none of this would be possible. This is Commander Jorval saying, until next time, fare thee well.